Is this thing on? Is this thing on? I actually I'm going live, number one, because I'm sitting here at home and I don't have a lot going on. And I was corresponding with a young lady, and she had expressed the desire, wished I would go live. So here I am. Um, in order to have a friend, you got to be a friend. So I thought I'd chime in. I'm going to wait a second. Let me know if that's, hey, I'm glad I was waiting on you. Listen, I'm so glad you reached out. Don't let nobody fool you. I have a daughter who is a Gen Z. Are you Gen Z? So, my daughter is Gen Z. She 18, she'll be 19. I got a son that's a millennial. But my daughter is very in tune with have she has friends that are bisexual. Um, I don't believe in that. I believe in Mother Nature, what's natural. Women wasn't put here to be together, and I don't care what nobody say. I don't speak down or am a I have no idea what that is. Your generation, like the generation you was born in, like my age group is considered Gen X because of the time frame that I was born. My son's age group is a millennial. So it depends on your age group that when you was born, the generations, they got names for them. But my daughter's peers, a lot of them, right, she knows I'm on my spiritual journey. Yeah, and people will fool you. Let me tell you this. I don't care what nobody say. Um, you was not born to be with a woman, period. Just like men wasn't born to be with men. It's not natural. A lot of a lot of problems and trouble come with that. And I don't care what nobody say. Don't be tricked by that. I was telling my daughter, she has a friend that in high school, the girl was very aggressive and combative. And my daughter had said that she wasn't going to be friends with this girl once she graduated. Well, fast forward, my daughter goes away to college, and majority of her peers, this girl lied and said she went to school and didn't. And all of a sudden, she wants to be closer than a friend with my daughter. And I told my daughter, you have to be careful. Misery loves company, and the girl seems like she's probably a member of the LGBTQ community. I said, you got to be very mindful because that girl's intention could be to where she want to turn you out. Number one, her life isn't on track. And then she wants you to be in the same arena with her. I learned that at a young age. I'm the youngest of five girls. And a lot of my friends were older women or older girls than me at the time. They wasn't women, but older girls. And what I learned was people get very comfortable when you equal. See, people are very discomfort. They get very uncomfortable when you do something different or when you're progressing. That makes people extremely uncomfortable. Everything good when you on the same level or less. You don't let nobody reroute your path. You control that. And if she know you hasn't have never been that way, then for her to approach you is a red flag. She testing you. And that's the one thing that I speak about often. The one thing that I have learned through my experiences and years growing up and witnessing others, we don't know how to stop when we see a red flag. A red flag has a meaning behind it. That means stop. We want to blow right through it. If it made you feel uncomfortable, that's your conscience speaking to you. You don't want to be put in situations that you're not comfortable with. And it's actually disrespectful for somebody to put you in uncomfortable situations. Don't let nobody do that to you. And don't let nobody take you off your path. I was young, and I remember I used to hang out in the clubs on Saturday, and I would go to church on Sunday. And I remember my friends and family would call me fake. Say, "Oh, my nickname is Boosie." That's where the name Boost comes from, because I'm the youngest of five girls, so my father called me Caboose. They would say, "Boosie is fake. She go to the club on Saturdays, but she go to church on Sunday." And I was the only one going to church at that time. Um, I didn't let nobody make me feel differently or stop doing what I was doing, because see, God was working on me. I had something within my spirit that was needing some nourishment. And I didn't care what nobody say. People knock you off your path because they ain't doing it. You have to, that's the one thing. People have to be true to themselves. And people don't take the time to be true to themselves. People always want to be around others, always have people around them in company. I went through that. But fast forward, I went through a period where it wasn't nobody but me. And that is when my true learning and my healing began. That is when so much knowledge and healing and spirituality was poured into me. You can't heal and grow without that noise around you from other people. Don't let people come in your lane with a mess. People will come in your lane with a mess, and then they walk away, and then you all jacked up. Don't let nobody do that to you. You deserve better than that. When you said that you didn't respond, that's a sign that you uncomfortable. You don't owe nobody no explanation. But what you do owe is yourself the honesty of what you need and what you don't want to deal with, and to make sure that you hold those around you accountable to whatever that boundary is. Because it's a lot of people out here that's been fooled and going the wrong way. And I don't subscribe to it, and I don't buy it. And I'm not going to. That's a part of staying true to who I am. And you got to be careful of what you're exposed to in environments and people that you're around. See, one of the reasons why I was able to do well at an early age is because I looked around. Like I said, I hung around people older than me, and plus I was the youngest of five, so I could look at other people's lives and learn from their mistakes. And some things I was able to navigate, and then other things I was able to learn from and apply to my life and progress because of that. But that's a heavy thing for somebody to put on you. And my heart goes out to you, because I know that's an uncomfortable situation to be in, especially with someone that is so close to you. But when somebody approaches you like that, she's focused on her needs and not yours. And for me, that's a red flag. Just be mere fact that it's a woman is a red flag for me. But you gotta, look at that friendship and reassess it, because people will turn you out. People will turn you out, and don't you and it will be and can be the closest ones to you. So, does that make sense? I don't know if he's still there, but somebody is. So anyway, um, I don't know y'all thoughts on the LGBT community, but this is where I am and this is where I stand. I don't have a problem with somebody else do. Just don't try to infringe that. Okay, infringe that on me, because I'm a woman And I believe in what's natural. And what's natural is man and woman, period. Ain't no discussion, no back and forth. That's what it is, and I stand by it because that is my truth and my reality, and ain't nobody gonna sway me from that. But I'll tell you something else. I had friends for 20 plus years that I no longer talk to anymore. Had friends since I was a kid. People will hold on to you. You can get tied up in the holding on to people that should not be in your life at this phase. People, that's just like holding on to something you should have got rid of years ago. People also do that with relationships. Everybody ain't meant to go well where you are or where you headed. And in order to get there, some of those relationships you're going to have to shed. But people get very insecure with being by themselves or not having people around them. See, that's why a lot of people don't know what self-love is. Self-love is a journey that you walk on by yourself. Can't nobody get you there. And in the process of me learning about self-love, a lot of people I had to shed. And there's some people that I no longer have a relationship with surprised me. But I had a very, very close relationship with God, and I prayed often, and I prayed about specific things. And when he responded, like when I asked him to remove people in my life that shouldn't be there, he took away some people that I wasn't expecting, and it shook me. And it was hard and it was hurtful. But fast forward a couple years, I see clearly. And I'm at peace with that. I understand why those people had to go. And the ironic thing, the surprising thing is, you couldn't have told me this a couple years ago, but fast forward to current day, I don't miss those people. People I spent over 20 plus years with, I don't miss them at all. Because they served a purpose in my life at a certain time. Where I'm at today and where I'm going, it's not on the same path with them. We no longer serve each other well. Our purposes in each other's lives have been fulfilled. And a lot of people have a hard time with accepting that. But the sooner that you start to really tap into what's going on inside of you and what you need and what it takes to nourish your mind and your body, the more you work towards that, the easier it becomes to let people and things go that no longer nurture your existence. And if you say you're on a spiritual journey, being with a woman and you a woman, that ain't gonna, you can't get there like that. Not with the God I serve, and I can only speak from experience, and I'm gonna stick by that. You have to tap into your relationship with your God and help and have your spirituality strengthened so you can navigate through the mess. Because self-love and self-care, the beginning of it is not pretty. It's a very hard and a very ugly and a very hurtful space. But you got to go through that. You got to get rid of all of that to get to that beautiful place. I went through a lot of pain to get to where I am today. I went through a lot of loneliness. I went through a lot of painful nights, crying and just struggling. But I can tell you authentically and honestly from my heart, it was worth it. Because I no longer need people in the way that I thought I did. What I need is peace. What I need is spirituality. What I need is to be a healthy, most authentic, genuine me. And I was none of those things before I started on this journey and understood what I truly needed to be at peace and to be healthy mentally and physically in this life. You're going to have to be willing to shed some things, and that means people too. in order to get to your true self and your true purpose. And don't let nobody um, sway you or make you second guess yourself. You already have been called to step up into who you were meant to be. That's why you reaching out and you looking for answers and you're wanting and needing something. See, it's two sides to that. You know, evil will try to get you off your path, and they'll throw everything at you that you didn't expect. Don't be fooled by that. Stay true to who you are. Stay true to what your soul and your spirit is telling you, and keep going after that. And a lot of that you achieve through prayer and being honest with yourself. And if you don't know the answer, then that's when you pause and you do nothing. See, people will be confused and thinking that they have an answer, but when you're not for sure, what I have learned is that's when you do nothing until you have clarity. But if I can't tell you anything else, I'm gonna tell you this. I'll tell you the same thing as I told my daughter. Don't let nobody turn you out. Everybody that's your friend ain't your friend. And if all this bisexuality, that goes against nature. Be true to who you are. Don't pretend to be somebody else or be in situations and around people and do things just to fit in, because that's dangerous and that's how you get hurt. That's how people can lose their life, by pretending to be somebody and something who you're not. And if you got to pretend to be in people's presence, then you're in the wrong environment. Or if you are in environments that make you uncomfortable, you need to change your setting. Don't allow nobody to do you that way. Tell her she got to find somebody else to fulfill that. And it ain't you. It ain't right. And what's sad is they making it so normal. And I know it's, the only reason why it's legal is because Caucasians want it. But what we see every day is African American men and women, same sex. No, it's not normal. It's not right. And don't get comfortable with wrong. A lot of responsibility come with wrong, and don't none of it feel good. So I hope I helped you. You got any other questions or some other point of view you want me to give? But when you do talk to her, let it be a one. I'll tell you this: it couldn't be a two-way conversation. It can only be a one-way. This is who I am. This is how I feel, and this is how it's going from here. That's it. It ain't no two-way conversation, because when you allow two-way conversations, that's how people can manipulate you, and you don't want somebody to manipulate you. You stay true to your spirituality. You stay true to nourishing your spirit and your soul. That ain't just happen, by chance. God is speaking to you. Your spirit is needing nourishment, and that's the only person that you obligated to is you, what you need. And don't let nobody make you feel differently. But I'm glad I ran into you, so I'll definitely come on more. But yeah, that when I read that troubled me. That's deep, and it makes me think about conversations I had with my daughter about some of her friends, which I didn't even know they was like that. But it's a lot of young people out here that was born into that, believing that that's okay, and it is not. It is not. I don't care what nobody say. That's mental health, mental issues. They trying to normalize people that identify differently than who they are as normal. No, it's a problem, and instead of addressing the problem, they're trying to normalize it. And women being with women is not normal, and men being with men is not normal. And I'm not apologetic because of it. I stand by it. You know, people can be whoever they are. Just don't infringe your beliefs upon me, because I believe in who I am and the lifestyle I want to live, and that is opposite sex, not same. So stick around, girly. Keep your head up. And I'm glad I was online when I read your comments. So I'm online a lot lately. I'm trying to grow my platform. So um, anytime you got a situation, if I can help you, I'll definitely do that, because that's what we got to do. We got to care about each other. We got to be available to give right information to people, or our culture, and just, I mean, you see what's going on in the world. It's a lot of wrong, and the best way that you can try to help that is to not participate in the wrong. Average logical thinking. Things that are acceptable to society make people feel okay to do it, like alcoholism and um, was that supposed to be homosexuality or holo? I mean, there's so many different sexualities. I don't even know. I can't keep up with them, but that's the truth, and that's the thing. This one lady made a comment earlier about a comment I made about, and I'm not going to even call the girl's name, a content creator that I know she's operating from a place of pain, but just how she shows up very negative and ignorant. And the lady basically was saying it was let her do her thing. She getting money. No, being ignorant and just very rude and foul is not something that we should be comfortable with. But and this was an older lady. She was her focus was trying to learn some skills from her. So basically, let her be ignorant and a fool, so you can get what you want from her, and it makes it cool. No, because culturally, no matter what people say, collectively, we are all in the same arena. We are all black women. And to sit back and promote other people acting a fool and being ignorant just for the sake of, long as I get what I need, then it don't matter to me. No, it should matter to everybody, because at the end of the day, what one does eventually will affect all. We ain't that far down the road to where we ain't separate. And that level of ignorance, I just can't accept. I have a responsibility how I show up in the world. Everybody else does too. And when people say mind your own business, if you a black woman and you out here acting a fool on large platforms, that is my business. Because when they see you, they see me. And they don't separate me from you collectively. And people might think that we passed that, but we got a long way to go. They turning these laws back 50 years. They slowly taking everything back that we got, and that's scary. I know it affects us all day. I managed people for 20 years, and my most challenging combative employees was black people. They were the most combative and challenging. And when I would speak to them about reality, and that there are no, when you manage people, you can take care of people within guidelines that don't discriminate. But when you have groups of people that want you to do something that can potentially get you fired, and you don't subscribe to that kind of behavior because you know better, and That's not what I'm here for. Them people will go for your throat. And I experienced that a lot of years managing people in corporate America. And I ain't talking about these little mom and pop shops. I'm talking about big business, General Motors, like names, household names, big business across the country. And they were the most entitled, combative people. And when you tried to educate them, they didn't want to listen. They didn't want to listen. Boost, all of my black and especially male subordinates in the mill were, amen. So you know I ain't lying. You know I ain't lying. And I'm thankful to God. I haven't managed people for 3 years since COVID, and I pray not to never manage them again. But the biggest problem was black people. I didn't want to manage them because they wanted something for nothing, and they didn't want to listen. Um, Wanted favors, and then they didn't want to work. And when you be honest about it, they want to say, oh, it's always us talking about each other. No, I'm talking facts. I'm talking realities that I lived. And that's the problem. We have to be accountable for our behavior. I went to work every day and I gave my best. That's all I owe them. And I didn't ask for no more, no less than the rest. But you got a lot of us showing up that want something for nothing. And then when you address them, you a sellout or you this or that. No, I need my job just like you. My last name ain't on this building. And if you think I'm going to let you compromise my check, you the fool. Do this job that you paid to do or you out of here. That's it. And I actually got sick from giving people too many chances, dealing with high stress environments for too long a period of time. And I no longer do that. We are all accountable. And I'm very honest. People get comfortable with less and lies. I don't I don't offer that. I'm gonna tell you like it is, and it's up to you to accept it. But yeah, that getting comfortable with wrong is, I actually have seen it more in the last couple weeks being on this internet, after learning um about confrontation, with some of these content creators, and just reading the comments and on their pages. I said it's a lot of people, miserable people on this internet, and if you don't be careful, you can get drawn into that, and you have to be very mindful and guard what you expose yourself to, because you can be consumed by negativity and all of this common dirty nastiness that's going on in the world. You really do have to be a gatekeeper of your setting and what you expose yourself to mentally and physically. And that's why, I don't really get on Facebook and those other platforms as much as YouTube, because I'm on YouTube for a reason. But those other platforms, it was just so much negativity. I can kind of control it more over here on YouTube, that I would take breaks, because I just can't be exposed to that, because you'll find yourself depressed over some mess that you ain't even got nothing to do with. And that's real. That's a reality. And being on this platform, I know it's a lot of women like me, is single black females, be it younger, older, um, and we can identify with each other, and we need one another. So showing up authentic, that's why I'm really heartbroken about Peach, because that's another content creator. I don't know if that's how y'all found me or not, but when she first started out, she was very authentic, but she's become consumed with so much negativity that it drowns everything else, and she has the ability to do so much more than what she's doing, and it's just unfortunate. But I'm not going to stay on her, because she got her own thing going on, and where I'm at, I'm doing something else. I had to click do not recommend on a lot of the videos because the algorithm kept showing. Yeah, and I just started doing that too, because you can be in the algorithm. I mean, it's like it'll start flooding you with that negativity. You click on something, some drama going on, and then you just consumed with it, because I mean, every time you click on, it's like one after the other. And I like peace in my life. And culturally, we always have seen and known, conflict amongst Black women, and I don't subscribe to it. I'm focused on getting along and trying to be in the presence of people that can pour into me, I can pour into, that want to grow, live healthy, peaceful lives, and health and softer lives. All that aggression. I live most of my life aggressive. All that did was get me to a place to where I started having migraines, my body started breaking down, and wasn't nothing good gonna come of it. I don't subscribe to all that. I don't believe in arguing back and forth with people. It don't get you nowhere. Learn how to speak and to conduct yourself, in a calm manner. It ain't about other people, it's about you. When people get so caught up in that, I'm gonna check her, or I don't know who she thinks she talking to, your body feels all of that. And what people fail to realize, and I used to think about this when I was younger, but it came a reality when I was older, because I could feel all that tension when I was younger and I was popping off and gonna check somebody. I knew later on in life my body would pay for that. And here I am later on in life. I started having migraines. I started having body aches that I never knew nothing about, and it takes me back to having that strong Black woman mentality. That's a setup. When I say strong, it ain't strong in the aspect of you know just being assertive and doing what you got to do in your life. Is being that chick that she the one that's gonna pop off, gonna let everybody know who they dealing with. She's saving everybody else and ain't taking care of herself. That it's a setup. And always the one at work that dealing with all the mess. Nah, all them other races, they let them deal with it. Don't come and get me for the mess, because see, my body feel that stress and that pain too. So you can be meek, you can be weak and soft spoken, but if you managing people, then that's a part of the job. You deal with that knucklehead. I don't subscribe to it no more. I ain't dealing with none of that. You ain't giving me none of that check. Therefore, you need to earn it. All that stress will manifest. I know it'll manifest in your body. It actually did in mine. Mine started off with headaches. Then I started getting aches in my arms. And then one day I was looking at my computer in my office and I could tell my eyes had changed. I'm like, man, I can't see the screen like I normally do. And I always wear glasses, but I only had a slight stigmatism throughout my life. I think things that was probably dormant that probably would have happened to me when I got old later on in life, all those things surfaced. I got surgery on both my eyes. And you see I wear glasses, so it wasn't to get rid of wearing glasses. It wasn't that kind of surgery. It was to prevent me from going blind. I had carpal tunnel. When negativity goes low, I must stay high for my mental and physical health. Amen. You got to stay high. I learned that the hard way. I remember I started getting so sick. I left work a couple of times and I went to urgent care near my job. And the doctor there actually told me, he said, why is your body so raggedy and you so young? And it all stemmed from stress. Putting people before me, working like a dog in high stress environments, not taking days off when I should to address health issues. And I used to, but I went through this stage to where like 2 years I was going strong, working hard, focused on this project and not focused on my body. And I did it so much to where when I finally should have went and got help, it was too late because I was already falling and severely sick. Had to get help at that point, didn't have no choice. I want all young women to get this understanding sooner than later like us. Life will be much better. Amen. That's why I'm speaking out. That that strong black woman mentality is a setup. I said it before and I will say it until the cows come home. I don't subscribe to it anymore. I don't get involved in affairs that's not my business. I have truly learned to mind my own business. But why do I feel the need to check someone I feel mistreated me? You know what? I was that way my whole life. I'm gonna check her. I'm gonna let them know who they dealing with. You have to get to a place to where you don't even let it get that far. And if it does, you got to start and I know what you're talking about because that was my biggest obstacle. When I finally started realizing you don't matter. I don't have anything to prove to you. See, that's the ego. Your ego is a very dangerous thing. And once you get your ego in check, you can walk away from that. Because I had a hard time walking away from people without checking them, letting them know who they was dealing with. You have to get your ego in check. And your ego, because your ego is the one that will get you in these situations. Your ego can make you have high blood pressure, and it's not necessary. Put that ego in check and understand I don't have anything to prove. When you understand you don't have nothing to prove to nobody, and that ignorance and that negative energy has everything to do with that person and nothing to do with you, you'll learn how to start minding your own business and you can walk away. You got to learn how to start minding your own business. As we start walking in humility more, the ego and pride will lessen. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you one thing. I actually went online and I tell you someone that is excellent about the ego. Eckhart Tolle. He spells his, if you don't know him, it's Eckhart Tolle. Tolli. Oprah Winfrey did a lot of settings with him, but he has a lot of podcasts or a lot of sessions about the ego. When the pandemic was happening and I was going through a lot of emotional struggles, being alone and 8 hours away from everybody I know, listening to Eckhart Tolle helped me to control my mind because I was in the house for almost 2 years, literally, and very little interaction with other people because I got sick with COVID March 2020. In the beginning of March, when people didn't even know what COVID was, and I was deathly sick, so wasn't nobody coming to help me. I stayed here for 2 years, and then once I got well, a couple months later, I was terrified to leave my house. I went through a very, very trying, troubling stage. And Eckhart Tolle, he um, he helped me calm my mind. He helped me get my ego in check because I went through a lot of struggles with being lonely. And I am very, very humbled and very, very respectful of uh, loneliness. You know, people have killed themselves from being lonely. People have struggled with loneliness, and I have been blessed to have went through that, but have been able to get on the other side of it to where I am comfortable with myself and being by myself, and I can navigate that. Loneliness is a serious and a real thing, and there's a lot of people out here suffering from it. That's why people got to understand it, work through it, and get ahead of it. And a lot of it is dealing with and controlling your ego. Because the man will play, that's saying the man will play tricks on you. The man will play tricks on you. No doubt about it. And you have to know how to navigate in a comment, know what is real and what is not, and know how to nurture those moments to where when you're struggling. And I really physically went through that. And I'm grateful and I'm humble and I'm thankful to God that He gave me the knowledge, the awareness, and the tools to navigate that. But a lot of people aren't prepared for that. But yeah, the negativity that's going on in society today is it's unfortunate. It really is. And it's really disheartening. I remember growing up, and I speak about this too. I was very prideful about the black community. I grew up with the mentality, oh, black people don't do that. Oh, it's somebody else. That ain't us. We don't do that. Yeah, I know it was somebody other than black people. Let me tell you, and I'm being very honest, and y'all know I ain't lying. We do everything. I don't see, there has been a major shift within our culture that it's a disgrace and it's an embarrassment. And it's something that I am never going to be comfortable with, something that I'm never going to accept and just sit back and say, well, it ain't me, and look the other way, because it is me, because I'm black and I'm a part of it. It's sad that we do any and everything. And this mental health thing, and that's why I say, we really have to be more aware and start paying more attention and really take matters into our own hand. These people that's popping off in these streets, that's going in these buildings, shooting up and just acting crazy and killing women, they look like you and me. The days of, oh, it's the recluse, weirdo white male, that's over. A lot of them people look like you, and a lot of them look like me. And it's becoming more and more common and relevant, and it's scary. You know, little kids I see on the internet, excuse me, you got 2, 3 year old little years old little kids on the internet with their parents, and they doing videos, and a young mother think her child saying, excuse my French, bitch, damn, just foul words, and they sitting there laughing. Now, what kind of child do you think that little kid gonna be? What kind of person you think that child gonna be when they grow up? It's sad because they being so conditioned so young, and it ain't one off. Like, these kids, you have to have some sort of discipline, and it ain't about uh whooping a child to where, like when I grew up, some of that was abuse. You know what I mean? But you do have to correct a child, and you do have to make sure that children know there is a difference between me, you, and them. I'm not your friend. There is no respect there. These kids are being raised as equals, that they can express themselves and say whatever they want to say, and it's okay. All this soft parenting is destroying and tearing up our race, because some of these kids need their tail whoops, and it ain't no way around it. But it's getting more and more common, these kids killing their parents. To have heard a child kill their parents when I was growing up, I never heard that before. But I didn't heard it what? In the last 10 years or so. It ain't no shocker. It ain't, I mean, it's disheartening. You hate to hear it, and it's troubling. But to say we shocked, ain't nobody shocked no more. And that should be what's scary. But ain't nobody doing nothing about it. And black people still running around here doing anything for $1. And it still stems back to your mental health. Ain't nobody doing nothing about that mental health. And we got to get in front of that. We got to start taking care of that ourselves. I'm trying to be my best to keep my son in check. Look, you got to keep him in check, or he going to check you. And that's just the reality. And it's sad. We too quick to give in. When a child does something wrong, you have to stand your ground. And you have to instill in these children that what they did is wrong. And they need to feel it and understand it. See, when there's no consequences, you are breeding up a dangerous person. And then you have these mothers that say, I don't know what happened. I don't know where I went wrong, or what went wrong. You didn't pay them no attention. You didn't correct them. You let them do anything they wanted to do. I actually ran across this video. I had never heard him before, and I don't even know, but I ran across it on YouTube. It was a rapper guy. Oh, I was looking up, reading about the crimes, in Chicago. And this was about 2 weeks ago. I started reading a series of documentaries on YouTube about the different crimes in Chicago. And what's scary, and all of it is out there, is all these people that have committed all these bad crimes in Chicago. They ain't no more than, they between 12 and 17 years old. And I mean, literally, all that crime that has popped off in the Chicago areas and across the country, these ain't adults. 99% of these is young kids. That's because they parents ain't, daddy probably ain't present, let's just be honest. And the mother, she too busy looking for a man. That's why I don't, thank you. I had them a couple years. I got them from Saks Fifth Avenue, Gucci. Ain't nothing special. But I got them from Saks. I put my lenses in them. They sell eyeglasses. But Gucci, I said Gucci. Chicago have all that crime and all them kids between 12 and 17 years old. And it's a shame. And when I looked up their mothers, because it was one I had never heard of, what was that guy's name? King Von. I followed his story. He was a rapper, Lil Durk. I didn't know who he was either. I'm in my late 40s. I don't know who these people are, but I try to stay informative. And I was following the crime in Chicago. Watched it for several days. Many documentaries is out there. Them kids was battling back and forth on Twitter, and they was between the ages of 12 and 17 years old. And I'm talking about, I found out about what's his name, King Von, because they titled him the first serial killer that was a rapper. And when you look at his story, and they were so young and dumb, they videotaped a lot of his stuff and was throwing it on the internet. That's how they was beefing with each other on FaceTime, and they would throw it up and on Twitter. Killed a lot of people. But I said I'm bringing his story up because when you start looking at who him and a couple of other kids, I looked up their parents, who their parents was. His mama, God rest his soul, and I'm not saying this lightly. I'm telling, because the facts are the facts. She looked, the clubs. She looked like she was looking for a man and only a man, and then nothing else matter. You would never know she had kids his age, teenagers, young adults. She dressed more provocative than a stripper. But that's his mama. And it's a lot of them kids' mama. When you start digging into who they are and where they come from, they have no guidance. And I'm not saying not be yourself, but when you start having kids, you have a responsibility to show up in the world and to be an example for them, if nobody else. And when you don't show up for these kids, that's when you start having these little monsters out there. And that's exactly what they are. Because people that run around here without a conscience, that can walk up to you and kill you for nothing because you got something that they want, that's a monster. Walking around here without a conscience is dangerous. And you got a lot of these young people that don't have a conscience because they parents and they haven't took the time to nurture them, to put nothing in them. So if you don't put nothing in them, ain't nothing coming out. And you got people that don't have a conscience that is just out here and they breeding more and more of them. I changed a lot after I had my child. How can you not? You become, because you're no longer one. There's somebody else looking at you. I remember, this is true. I had my kids I got 2 kids. I got a millennial and a Gen Z. My son, I had him at 20 and my daughter had at 30. They 10 years apart. I remember, and plus I had a good job, so I worked a lot. After about 2 years after I had my son, I got a really good job, and I couldn't hang out like I used to. Like I liked going to the club, But I remember one night I had bought a house. I bought my first house when I was 22 years old. I had a new car. Me and my son's father wasn't together no more, but I was doing all right for myself, right? I remember going to a club near my house, and I remember being in that club in my early 20s saying, "Why am I here? I could be at home with my son." And I believe that was the last time I went out because my needs and my desires changed. My level of responsibility and who I was changed. But when you don't change, when you continuously put your needs over the needs of your children, and a lot of these chicks do, they have these kids, and once they have them and the man don't stay, I mean, I don't know. It's been like this for decades. A baby don't keep a man. I don't know why chicks don't pick up on that. Then once the man gone, then they on the hunt again. Like, there's a lot of healing need to happen. That's why I'm concerned about them young girls, and I didn't realize this until I started investigating a little bit. All them girls that follow the sprinkle lady, them girls is teenagers. A lot of them is teenagers, and they real early 20s. And that information that chick is giving them young girls can get them killed. And these girls, when you want to speak out and say something, they want to call you the little special pygmishas and you hating or whatever. No, I'm trying to help your dumb butt not get in a situation where you can't get out of, because obviously you ain't aware of what's going on in these streets. Dudes is killing girls. Quickest way to lose a man, get pregnant. You better. Me and my sister was talking about that. If you don't want a man, get pregnant. If you want to keep him, don't get pregnant. Because if you get pregnant, hey, it's the quickest way he bail out. And what they don't realize is this is nothing new. See, these younger girls think, oh, it's different. No, people by nature is the same. It's just a different setting. But behaviors, mentality, it ain't changed. Nothing new under the sun. The Bible will fulfill itself. What has happened before is happening now and will happen again. Look, we got Google now. If you don't believe me, Google it. Ain't nothing new going on. But you got all these girls focused on, wanting a man. And I remember being younger, wanting a man and having a man and breaking up and, feeling bad. But they have just taken this thing to a whole nother level. And that sprinkle chick, focus on like how to get a man to take care of you. If we lived in a society where it was that easy to get somebody to take care of you, we all be taken care of. It ain't like that. You got to show up. You can waste a lot of time trying to get somebody to take care of you where you can be productive and do for yourself. I remember I went through a stage in my life where I used to pray to God that I wanted somebody to rescue me. Wanted somebody to lighten my load. All these years, I always dated guys in corporate America that had good jobs, powerful position. I don't know why, but I always liked the guy that had authority, right? Do what, always put my energy in them to make them better, thinking, it's going to be Captain Save a Hoe at the end of the day. Now, you got to excuse my French, but I'm just going to keep it real because this is how we can understand she out there selling fantasy. And she really is. And I remember when I had prayed to God. I had prayed for years for somebody to come save me. And one day God told me, as clear as I'm sitting here on this internet, true story. God told me, all these years you have been praying for somebody to save you, and all these years you've been saving yourself. What you need, I have put in you. You have been saving yourself all these years, wasting time asking for somebody to do what you've already been doing. And and as God is my witness, that's the day I woke up, and I never prayed for that again. And I'm going to tell you something else I quit doing too. I quit putting my energy into building up a man, like, and we all, and many of us, I can't say we all because I'm stereotyping, not gonna lie, I used to watch I didn't, Hey, well, look, I'm glad you don't know more, because she's selling false dreams, and don't get me wrong, some of the stuff she say is true. But she didn't make it up. That's just logic. It's basic. The other piece of that she's selling these girls, like, oh, somebody just gonna take care of you and be this nice shining armor. A lot of that, number one, those girls have no idea what comes with that. A lot of what comes with that, they ain't prepared for. And another piece of that, you can get with the wrong dude and then realize that he ain't what you want, that having that life ain't worth what you got to deal with, and want to walk away. And he say, oh, no, no, no. And then that's why you see a lot of these young ladies that ain't here no more. See, that thing is what she ain't telling people, that it's two sides to that, because a lot of dudes ain't taking losses. And contrary to what people say and believe, ain't nobody talking about, they talking about mental health, but well, not really, because ain't nobody doing nothing. But the black man, more than anybody within our circle, because we've been dealing with stress, because we ain't had no choice, need some serious therapy. A lot of black men don't have coping skills, and that's why they flipping out and they killing these chicks. And that's been going, and that started to go on more than not. It's so many black chicks that died during COVID that you wouldn't believe. And but see, I pop in here and there if I see. Sheba was live the other day, and I saw her watch her words. She wasn't as quick to recommend certain things to them girls. I forget what it was, but I caught it. I said, yeah, she's starting to be careful about what she say, because when these girls go out here and implement that, and then something happened to her, and it circles back to Shira, she can be accountable. So she's starting to be a little more careful with what she say, because what she say truly is dangerous. And more, these dudes is dangerous too. But black men need therapy. I mean, we all need therapy, and you don't got to be in no turmoil to have therapy. People need to normalize like having a therapist, just like that's a part. Like you go get a massager, like how they run and get that hair and weave and nails done. Go have your therapy session. I mean, you don't have to be going through. Don't wait to go to therapy when you need therapy. Therapy is a healthy practice, and we need to normalize that. And actually, one of my therapists, because my therapist had a therapist several years back, when they they helped me to understand that. He actually had said that, and it made sense. And and I believe it. I believe in therapy, but it ain't enough of us that's really trying to understand mental health, because we've normalized popping off and checking somebody as normal behavior, and all that is stress on your body, and not being able to communicate and express yourself effectively. You can express yourself without acting a fool, or hollering, and being aggressive. You know, actually, you can piss somebody off by being calm. Next time you come across a fool that want to act like a fool, stay calm and speak your mind calmly. That piss them off, because see, bad energy feeds, and when you don't feed it, and when you don't subscribe to that level of aggression, people don't know how to take it. And this is another funny thing. When I was younger, because I used to be something else as far as my anger, because my mother was that way. I used to have a lot of road anger, and I remember I was the one that'd drive up next to you, hollering, screaming, and honking, and you know and I used to get extremely mad when those white people wouldn't look at me. They just look straight ahead and like you don't exist. They did something that pissed you off, and they never look at you. I'm one of them people now. Somebody can be going out. I look straight ahead. I don't look at nobody. You can be hollering and screaming and going off. I'm like them white people. I don't look nobody's direction. I don't holler scream back, because people crazy. And I know they crazy. And what I realize is I ain't that crazy. I don't, I don't want to get in situations where I'm in a situation where I might have to defend myself or shoot somebody, all that. I'm not that kind of chick. I don't like guns. I don't like stuff like that. So let me quit pretending. Well, it wasn't even pretending. I was conditioned to be that way. I'm no longer that way. I'll look straight ahead in a minute. And I know you looking at me, and guess what? I ain't gonna look at you for a second. And and that's how I am now. But I was never like that. I remember being younger. I was so mad. I got out my car at a light and went and walked up to this lady hollering at her window. She could have shot me, you know? But I don't but that's how I was. I was raised in that environment. I was raised to be aggressive. That don't mean that I gotta be that way. That ain't who I am. Cause my mind and my heart and my body feel that. And I want to grow old gracefully. I don't want to be a part of that. Now the new buzzwords is live a softer life. I want to live this. I am living a softer life, and I'm going to live a softer life. And another aspect and part of that is I don't stay in bad relationships, unhealthy relationships, be it platonic or a personal one. Yup, it's not safe these days to be hot headed. Could cost you your life. Cost you your life all day. And I'm as cool as a what they say. I'm as cool as the ice cube now, cause I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to live. And you see, look on this internet. You got all these young kids. They got some serious artillery. I mean, you know, the days of pulling out a bed, they'll lay you flat. You just can't play that game. But who wants to? You know what I mean? Like I don't want to live in those type of environments, and I don't want those type of interactions. So I don't put myself in situations that will cause me to act like that. And furthermore, I don't want to be like that. Um I don't want to be aggressive. Like I want to it's many women in the world. I want to be a lady. I used to say that a long time ago. It's many women in the world, but I want to be a lady. Um, Ladies don't act that way. Ladies keep it pretty, and uh, and that's what I'm focused on. Keep it pretty. And if it can't be pretty, then everybody got a job to do. I believe in letting the cops do what they got to do, but I just don't get in situations and circumstances that call for something to get ugly. You know, I stay in my lane. And that's what more people need to do. But these young kids, you know, they didn't got a hold of so much information that they don't know which direction to go, and it's sad. And that's how you start breeding a culture of out of control. And societies today is out of control. But the good news is um this internet can put you in connection with people that desire and understand the same things that you do. And you know, you like my mother said, you know, stick with your own kind. You know, stick with your own kind. You don't want to be off in the settings and engaging with people that ain't your own kind. Like my ex, he I dated him for 10 years. He wasn't my kind. My mother told me that, but I didn't listen. He was from the East Coast. You know, I'm from the Midwest. He was a lot. He was slick. He was slicker than me. He was good at what he did. He was a gaslighter, and I ain't no dumb chick. You know, I call myself. I'm aware. You know, I didn't seen a couple things in my life, and I ain't. You know, I was born with common sense. But he was good at what he did. He could lie better than a liar, and I had to realize, you know, you ain't my kind. You know, stay in my lane. You can't you know, get off into something that ain't who you are. You know what I mean? But it's lessons to be learned. You know, they come in all shapes, sizes, and forms. You know, slick people don't come like a slicksters. You know, they come as givers and helpful, and and intelligent. At least that's been my experience. So you got to take your time with people and understand what you're dealing with. That's why like I said, it's dangerous with those girls follow and sprinkle because they young and they impressionable, and they so quick to grab on every word that chick say, and she ain't saying nothing. And actually I had came across somebody else that said they got in a situation dealing with dealing with a guy off of her advice. I said, yeah, like that's a dangerous thing, you know, especially if you don't know a person like that. But to sit back and think somebody just gonna take care of you, you got another thing coming. A couple people get it, like the 1%ers, like the 1% of the world. That's a very small percentage of the world. Most people, you gonna have to give something back, or you gonna have to get up and do something. People just ain't taking care of people like that. And let's be honest, it take two in this world. Everybody wants somebody with money. Don't nobody want nobody broke. But if it was plentiful, we all have them. So and everybody thinks they special. And once you start to be aware and you start being honest with yourself, quit lying with yourself. Yeah, I might be a decent person, and I might not be the ugliest person. I might look all right, but you ain't that special. People try to act like they more special than they are. And then you done looked around and you done lost a lot of your life by thinking you special, where you could have used that time to be productive and get ahead. You special enough to use the gifts God gave you to succeed. I lost a lot of my life putting energy into other people when I should have been putting that energy in me. And I don't do bad for myself, but I look at life and I say, if I would have not wasted so much time on these niggas and put that energy in myself trying to make him all he could be, if I had to put that energy in me, I do all right. I could have did great. But see, I done got older now, and I'm tired. All I want to do is maintain. And that's why, I be trying to tell these young girls, even my daughter, don't put so much time in somebody else. Put it in yourself, you know. And if it work out after you get to where you need to be, then hey, it's better for both of y'all. But hey, I ain't lying. But don't be putting all your time in these guys like that. And because all you doing is fixing him up for the next. And that's another thing that I had to learn the hard way. Some advice my mother had given me when I was younger. She said, if you like a man, leave him like he is, because when you fix him up, all you doing is fixing him up for another woman. And that's a fact. That's a fact. It happened to me twice. I call them late bloomers. Um, you know, they made a little money, so you dress them up, make them, a woman can always dress a guy up better than he can himself, most of them, unless he just a really fashionable type of guy. um I had the problem of fixing him up, uh buying him nicer sweaters and better shoes. Like, nah, don't buy those shoes. Get these. Yeah, that cologne is cool, but wear this. I think it's fly, and he smelled good to me. You think he didn't smell good to another woman? And then they happen to be those dudes to where, yeah, they had good jobs. They wasn't the handsomest, but they was all right. But they had good jobs, so now they can be exposed to some more things. And if they got the attitude, well, if they got you, let me see what else I can get. And then you done fixed him up, and next thing you know, he ready for the world, and he think he flyer than you, and you the one made him look good. Happened to me twice. Fix him up, help one get promoted at work. Now you making a little more money. Nah, I can give you some advice, but I can't do no work. I don't do that, and I ain't hating. That energy I got to put in me. I don't put that in to men like that no more. Putting them on a pedestal. You can do it, but you're gonna pay the cost, because and he gonna take all the fixing up, the advice, and all the support that you give, and the next thing you know, he on to the next. And that's just the reality. It take a special kind of man to stay humble and to stay, with those that help him get there, but most don't, and that's just the reality. So if you want him, leave him like he is. If he like if you like Nikes, but he wearing Skechers, leave that nigga, leave him in Skechers, cause once you put Nikes on him, he about to start running, and that's just the reality. I done seen it happen too many times, and it's real. That's dudes. I call them late bloomers. They ain't used to nothing. You expose them to better situations, better opportunities, and then they run wild with it because they ain't used to it. And it's a mentality. Excuse me, it's a mentality of many, unfortunately. So don't think that I'm just over here talking. I'm speaking from experience. You know, if he love you enough, he will level up for you on his own. Amen. And that's the whole thing. Let him do it. Don't do it for him. I wish I would buy somebody something, and I'm a giver. That has been a way to express myself, probably because my mother was that way, because she was an affectionate person. So she showed love to me and my sisters by buying us gifts, because she grew up in an unaffectionate household. But I think I probably picked some of that up from my mother, even though I'm much more affectionate to her. But a form of my affection, other than the fact that I like fashion, and I, I've always been that way. The older I get now, I'm kind of scaling back. But I mean, I always liked fashion and was known for fashion where I come from. I always dressed up. Um, I would do that for my guy. I wouldn't buy a guy nothing now to save my life, and it ain't hating. It's just reality. He just fine like he is. He fine like he is. My last boyfriend asked me to co-sign. Oh Lord, that's the first thing. I don't put my name on nothing. Co-sign alone. Glad I didn't. He ended up back with his baby mama. Yeah, let her do it. Let me tell you this, and this is another thing. I ain't nothing wrong with helping someone to a certain extent, but it depends on what that help is. You don't put nothing on your. I don't put my name on nothing, and I believe in letting a man be a man, and that's the one thing with me. I ain't never liked no man that didn't have no money. Um, he might have been corny in the way he dressed, or I could make him look flyer, but he definitely has some money. A lot of these chicks that I know, and some I don't, get with men, and these men ain't got nothing to offer. I ain't never been attracted to a man that ain't had no money. I believe in letting a man be a man. Like, if you, my mother, another saying my mother told me when I was younger, I lived by, I've been living by this since a teenager. She told me, she said, can't be in love if the bill collector's calling. So if you want me to focus on you, that money got to be right. Because if the money ain't right, then we can't be together. But I learned the lesson. My ex, I haven't, I ain't dated in 3-4 years. Let me 21, 2. Yeah, about 4 years. I've been single about 4 years. My ex, he 5 years older than me. Um, he had a good job. Another point, my daughter's father and him met them at work because I worked a lot. I don't want to meet nobody else at work. But they was bosses. I always liked men in power, right? But fast forward, my ex, he ended up getting a really good job to where he was in the automotive industry, was running let me see, First Brokey, and I know why I attracted him, because vi I was vibrating at a very low frequency at that time. Yeah, and you will attract, whatever frequency you you thinking low of yourself, or insecurities. You at a low point in your life, that's what you're gonna attract. So at those times, don't deal with nobody. Wait till you get your frequency back up, where you operating in optimal performance. But this dude gave me, I helped him get his dream job. He was getting company cars, everything. Didn't even have to pay for gas, nor to get it washed. I mean, he was the man, you know. Couple things. Dude got real cocky though. You know, I remember he used to tell me at work he had a secretary. All he do was go around shaking hands, and he like the mayor, go around shaking hands and kissing babies. But see, I've been at this game a long time. Told this guy, and I dated him for 10 years. Told this guy when he got this job, I said, listen, I came out of the automotive industry. I said, it's a different animal. I said, whether you and I make it or not, I'm gonna give you some advice. I said, I done seen black men that get these positions. I said, and it ain't that many. Mess them up. I said, it's a couple things I'm gonna tell you, and excuse my French, but I'm gonna tell you exactly how I told him. I said, it's a couple things. One, everybody, I said, you got to find somebody that you can hire that can have your back. I said, because everybody either want to be the boss. I said, or two, everybody want to fuck the boss. I said, you're going to get more women throwing themselves at you than you done ever experienced. I said, don't get caught up and lose your job over a piece of tail. Fast forward 2 years later, and this guy, he was a high performer, very thorough worker, intelligent, um, never no issues at work. Text me one day while I was at work that he was being fired, and his boss was in Michigan because he ran the whole site that he worked at. So he was the boss at his site. His regional boss for the plant that he was running was in Michigan. Long story short, he told his bald-faced lie saying that his boss said their leadership style was different, and that day would be his last day because his boss would fly in once a quarter to the different sites he managed. And he said this fool told me he didn't ask his boss. Now this guy making six figures, company cars, every 10,000 miles he get a new company car, don't have to pay for gas or get it clean. And you didn't ask him, go in more detail, what you mean our leadership styles don't align? He said he didn't ask the boss why he was being let go. And being that I've been in leadership positions where I've hired and fired for corporate America for almost 20 years, it's only a couple showstoppers. You didn't that you leaving that day. You didn't stole something. You didn't lied, which he ain't gonna do neither one of those two, or something unethical. Only thing hanging out there is unethical. I said, you mean to tell me you lost your job for a piece of ass? Now, of course, he gonna take that to his grave. But long story short, I know he lost his job because one of them young chicks was all up in his face, and his dumb ass wasn't mature enough to know that ain't worth me losing this six-figure job that's giving me free company cars, that I don't pay for gas, nor to even get it washed. He had a credit card to where he even kept it washed. Nothing he paid for. And his family members could get a car at 1% of the car's value, like up to 4 cars. Lost his job because he ain't used to nothing. Again, all that energy, you don't put that in nobody else. You put that in you. Put all that energy into a fool that lost his job and then look in your face and lie. Now, just think, wonder if I do well too, but I wasn't doing as well as him. Wonder if I would have put all that energy in me. I could even be doing even better. That's why, and I tell you this, and I believe this, that's why Oprah Winfrey ain't never got married, because she keeps control that way. Just think if she would have married Stedman, they'd probably be divorced. They probably wouldn't be together now. I believe that. They still together today because she never married him. Women so quick to get with these guys, and they doing better than these men. When we make mistakes, it affects others as well. Absolutely. And his mistakes affected me severely. Um, that was the beginning of the end of the relationship, because you don't, like, he wasn't gonna look me in my face and tell the truth, but I ain't no fool. He'll take that lie to his grave. And at the end of the day, it's accepting what when something no longer serves you well. The only good part about that was when I moved here, because I met him in the Midwest, and we dated for like 7 years. He from the East Coast. He got a good job coming back. So he made enough money for me to want to follow, and I didn't put all that time in. But that's, again, putting time in, thinking you owe something. I owe me. I owe me to put all that effort and time into me. And I'm thinking I didn't put all this effort boosting him up, pushing him to his potential. I ain't gonna just let him go on and let somebody else reap the benefits because I didn't put all that time and that energy. Sometimes it's best to let somebody just go on their way. It would have been better to let him move on than to try to chase what I thought was owed to me. Put that energy into myself. See, we get so caught up in putting our energy into other people, and then when they progress, we think they owe us something, and really they don't. Um, that's why you have to be true and loyal to yourself first. Be true and loyal to yourself first, and then everything else is a bonus. Like I'm not more loyal, and it took me 40 years to get here. 40 plus, I would say. I'm not more loyal to anybody than I am myself. And I remember in my first therapy session when I said me first, it was this white lady that was in my group therapy. She said, "You mean you after your kids, right?" I said, "No, I mean me first." And I didn't understand to that it has to be me first in order for me to be the best person I can for my kids. See, people wear themselves out and run themselves raggedy all for the sake of my kids come first. But really, your kids, the only way how your kids come first is you have to nurture you first so you can be the best person for them. Being a raggedy person for your kids is not putting your kids first. Being the most healthy, authentic person you can be so you can be productive and nurturing, and you can pass on good habits and healthy habits to your kids. That's how you put your kids first, by taking care of yourself. Like they say with the airplanes, they don't say, "Oh, put on somebody else's face mask first." They say, "Put on yours so you can help somebody else." See, people got that wrong, and I had it wrong my whole life. But I'm better now. I know better now, so I do better now because I had the mentality, my kids first. But I was operating as a sick, worn out me. But once I started taking care of me, so I could be the mother or the person that my kids and my family needed, then they got the best of me. That's when you put when you doing the best for your family, is when you giving them the best form of you. It's got to people got to women, especially black women, not them selfish ones that still in the clubs and don't want to take care of the kids, but the ones that truly is out here trying to make a better life for their families, really have to understand what that putting their family first mean truly. And it means putting yourself first and nurturing yourself and being healthy and emotionally available in the most authentic, healthy way that that your family will benefit from. Because the way that it's set up now is backwards, and many families are being deprived of happy, healthy lives, and we got to change that. And the best way that we could change that is by making sure our mental health is well. And ain't nobody going to get us there. We got to get ourselves there. Ain't nobody coming to save us, ladies. And if there's any guys, gentlemen, you got to learn how to save yourself. And that's a real thing. Wasn't nobody coming to save me. And the only reason why I'm well today is because I made a decision that I deserve to be well and I deserve to have a healthy, happy life. And I no longer cared what other people thought. I understood what I needed. So I knew that I didn't have all the resources and the information. So I did something about it, and I reached out and I got myself some help, and it was the best thing I ever did. Going to physical therapy, going to mental therapy was the best thing that ever happened to me. I don't flip out no more, and I ain't agitated all the time, and I don't think I gotta pop off and I'm gonna show this bride who she talking to. I don't live like that no more, and I no longer stay in unhealthy relationships. Make sure you come back. Have a wonderful night. Um, I let go early. When I see red flags, I don't run full speed ahead. I stop and I turn the other way. I start to learn early how to man my business, and more of us need to learn how to have that skill. You don't have the ability to change anybody, and don't waste your life and your time thinking that it's something special about you, or you see something special in them that you can change a situation. Nah, when somebody got something going on and you see these red flags, step away, go the other way. Let them deal with that. And if it's meant to be, then let them come back when they healed and they done addressed it. But see, when you get involved in other people's problems and, situations, you'll walk away with symptoms. You'll walk in a situation, been healthy and fine, and the next thing you know, you all jacked up and you got all kind of symptoms and conditions, and then you need help. That's a real thing. You don't do that. You let people deal with their own situations. Let them. This is early on. This ain't people that well, sometimes even people you've been with a long time, you got to walk away from. But we stay and we see signs early on, and then we blow full speed ahead as if it was a green light that said go instead of that red flag that said stop. Stop means stop. Stop, pivot, walk away. That's my best advice to anybody, and that's what I live by today and for the rest of my life. I can't change something that I didn't cause. I can't get involved in matters that don't have anything to do with me. You know, I stay in my lane and I let other people deal with their situations. I have learned to man my own business. And I suggest more people do it not. It'll save your life. It'll save you from a lot of stress and heartache and a lot of unnecessary duress in your life. So let's get real and heal as a movement. It's a journey. It's a decision. It's a discipline. And I encourage any and everybody to join me. It's a better life. It's more people out there like me than not. But the difference is I quit lying to myself. I start telling myself the truth so I could get well. And once you do that, that's the beginning of your journey. Because, see, you can lie to other people. You can even lie to yourself, but deep down inside, you know better. You know what's there. And once you start to really tap into truth and honesty, then your authentic self will surface. And that's where your peace begins. That's where your happiness and the life that you're supposed to live is waiting for you. I know that's what happened to me. And that's what I want happening to any and all of you that might be going through something. Quit lying to yourself so you can get well. It's a beautiful life. Join me. I'll be back when you see me online. Make sure you pop in and say hi to me. God's blessings. Until the next time.